BTS reaction time.
Today we got a video titled How BTS Became a Major Moneymaker for South Korea.
Ooh,
That's
I bet you
right.
they're making a lot. A lot.
Billions from what I understand. Billions every single year.
Wow.
So we're going to put on a thinking cap here because this is not a music video. This is not a behind the scenes look at their fun and active lifestyle. This is about finance.
Money.
Money.
Which I'm so good at.
That's why I'm making you watch this video so you can learn how to produce value for people. Ultimately, that's what money is about. Money generated from a group like BTS is about value. They create something of value to people and people want to buy it. And that's why it has about a $3 to $4 billion impact for South Korea. In other words, that's how much money they bring in every single year to the country. Whether it's because of the music they sell, the tourism of people coming in to visit the country, the gear, the merch. I mean, like everything. So it's a really fascinating phenomenon.
Oh, that's insane to think about that whole money and helping their economy.
I don't think they're doing it to help the economy.
They're helping somehow. There's
a lot of pride to it, yeah. I actually heard that they have partnered up with Korean's tourism board to create a video, which you'll have to watch sometime. But the whole point is that not many people think about the economic impact. CNBC, which is one of the dominant financial media companies here in the United States, did this video, which I thought would be interesting to watch.
Oh, I'm curious and I'd love to know. I'm not good at economics, but I'd love to know. It's inspiring. I don't know. And pride. I'm not a Korean, but I'm so proud for my boys.
All right. Me too. Of course. Me too.
All right. Let's watch this one. I'm curious.
All right. And away we go.
In 1964, an English boy band called the Beatles made its television debut and changed the face of the music industry forever.
What a way to start the video.
Oh, they're silly.
Oh, they were young. They were goofy as hell.
More than 50 years later, another foreign import is doing it again. Meet BTS, a 7-member South Korean boy band from Seoul. The band has sold millions of albums and is one of the most watched artists on YouTube.
Yes.
Not to mention, their stadium shows around the globe have quickly sold out. It's estimated that BTS is worth about $3.6 billion per year to the economy of South Korea, and more than $1 billion in consumer exports. The idols, as South Koreans call its megastars, were the reason that 1 in every 13 foreign tourists visited the country in 2017.
Wow.
BTS even partnered with Visit Seoul on a tourism campaign.
I told you. We're going to watch that, baby. We got to watch that. I bet it's going to be pretty good.
Namsan Tower and Bangpo Bridge, which were featured in videos for the campaign, have become hot spots for tourists. Should BTS maintain their popularity, they could generate $37 billion in economic value for South Korea over the next 10 years.
Well, I love this stuff because I studied business. And so when I take a look at, in fact, you probably even notice when I talk about BTS or a lot of these reactions, I go into sort of like business mode and think about how K-pop has affected the worldwide industries, you know, how much it costs to make a music video, all these different things. So I love this stuff.
Yes, not just for BTS, but in your everyday life, you always do that.
That's right. It's not because of the money, but because ultimately business is the fuel that keeps trade going, that keeps people active, right? We all have a purpose when we work. We create some value for somebody and someone wants it. And I mean, ultimately, I am a very creative person. That's why I like making these videos. But the whole idea is if you want to make a living from it, like how BTS is making a living from being idols, there is something to be learned here about how they did it. How did they become such a dominant force? And how is this industry structured that allows K-pop to become really the most dominant form of music genre in the world right now?
So how did BTS break the mold in South Korea and jump to the top of the charts in the US? BTS wasn't an overnight sensation. Debuting in 2013, the K-pop group took its name from a Korean expression, 방탄소년단, which translates to Bulletproof Boy Scouts. Although the acronym has since morphed to stand for Beyond the Scene, a nod to how connected the band is to its loyal fans known as ARMY.
Look at all
So what is K-pop anyway? K-pop is short for Korean pop or Korean popular music. It's a music genre that blends together electronic, hip-hop, pop, rock, R&B, and even rap.
I can't believe they have to explain.
I know.
K-pop. What else could K stand for?
Hey, still useful.
The genre can be traced back to the early 90s, but rose to popularity in the 2000s. It has since grown into a $5 billion global industry. Typically, K-pop groups have gained a foothold in South Korea and throughout Asia before trying to expand to a global audience. But when they did travel abroad, these trips were actually detrimental to many of their careers because it ripped them out of the spotlight in their home country.
So previous generation of K-pop idols' career very much depended on TV as a platform, whereas BTS used social media to really kind of make themselves available and visible, and that can be done anywhere in the world.
But BTS did things a little differently. The boys of BTS were signed to South Korean entertainment company Big Hit Entertainment, who had conducted the auditions that brought them together. The group spent several years refining their dance moves and sound before debuting in 2013. Two band members, Jimin and V, hailed from the Korean Arts High School in Seoul, a private educational institution that has many K-pop idols as alumni.
Interesting.
The school closed in February 2019, however, as it was unable to keep up with new and strict laws and decided to stop taking students. Other performing arts high
There's got to be some other deeper story behind that. That's so strange.
schools, sometimes called K-pop schools, remain. Here, young South Korean students practice their dance moves and polish their vocal skills. The boys hail from cities and towns from all over South Korea and were brought together through a series of auditions in 2010 and 2011. Big Hit Entertainment was on the brink of bankruptcy in 2007. However, it wasn't until BTS's launch that Big Hit's financials really turned around. By 2018, the company's profit soared 97% from the year prior, hauling in around $57 million. Revenue rose 132% from 2017 to 2018, and the company's net income rose 105% year over year. Much of this growth was due to how Big Hit first marketed BTS to the public.
BTS kind of circumvented traditional model of debuting on TV music shows and gaining visibility, and rather they took a route of reaching out to global fandom through social media directly.
YouTube.
So it is a band that gained fame and popularity overseas even before they became superstars in Korea itself.
The band was given full control of their social media presence and were encouraged to live blog their practices and daily lives.
Social media has been playing a tremendous role not only in the Korean wave, but also in the exchange and propagation of culture. In fact, Korean wave, including K-pop, K-beauty, K-food, movies, and games, is a worldwide trend now because of the social media, and the US market is no exception. In recent years, the millennials spend enormous time on social media.
He's got a poster of the Beatles in the back.
Beatles!
Yellow Submarine.
And a massive cultural content is being consumed. Especially the expansion of Korean wave on YouTube is the most powerful driving force.
Notably, none of the band members have their own individual accounts on social media. There's just one band account, meaning the group's fan following is concentrated on one account per platform.
Army!
On Twitter, the band has more than 20 million followers. On Instagram, more than 19 million. And YouTube has just over 20 million as of July 2019. This massive fan base isn't concentrated in one country or region. It's global. And that has been a major factor in BTS's success. Their record label even gave the boys latitude to create their own solo music.
I think what BTS is demonstrating is that when you recognize the changing dynamics of this world, which is that big companies no longer control people's tastes, right? Social media, YouTube has democratized how people can get in front of people. And that's why BTS is able to bypass a lot of that and go directly become fans with the army. And that's why they've been able to grow so fast. I mean, the reality is, even on social media, their numbers nowhere close to where Taylor Swift is or even where Selena Gomez is. But their engagement is what matters. And I think what they have is people who actually connect with them on a personal level day to day. That's unheard of.
I have to agree with you because BTS is everywhere and Their social medias, they only have 20 million compared to other, like, you know, but you just said it. It's the engagement.
Yeah. Someone like Taylor Swift and someone like Selena Gomez, 100 million, maybe half of them are inactive fans, right? Fans of a particular album, fans of their earlier years. And I think what BTS has done in a very short amount of time is create a highly engaged group of people that respond to them. And that's something that I recognize because of the company I worked with before that measures social media power and influence. Your engagement ratio is really meaningful, meaning like the number of people that engage per post. And as you start to go from 100,000 to 500,000 to 1 million to 10 million, that engagement ratio goes down a lot because a lot of people are just inactive. But my sense is with BTS, it's very, very high.
Yeah, they are so active. ARMY, they're so supportive to each other. Like in social media, I've seen some ARMY that will post, you know, I'm not having a good day today, or I am going to take my exam today, but I'm so low with confidence. And people, ARMY, would just like send messages, positive vibes, how they encourage each other. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, fueled by BTS, but now pretty much lives on its own.
Yes, exactly.
BTS first arrived in America in 2014 to be part of a South Korean reality TV show called BTS American Hustle Life, which aired on a South Korean network. The show centered around the band living in LA while learning more about Western culture and rap music from industry veterans Warren G and Coolio. Later that year, BTS became the youngest artist to play LA's KCON, an annual festival that features the biggest K-pop superstars. This performance garnered the group a lot of attention. In 2017, BTS received its first Billboard Music Award for Top Social Artist. Nominees are artists that fans engage with the most on social media.
The first win at the Billboard Music Awards in 2017 was a total shock to the majority of US media because BTS captured the top social artist, overtaking superstars such as Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez.
Definitely shocked me. That was the first time I went, who? BTS?
You were proud though.
Once I found out, I'm like, what? An Asian band? Oh, big time pride as an Asian American.
The Beatles were from Liverpool, not from the rich background. BTS is very similar. Their daily lives have been delivered to fans every day. They show that their lives are not much different from ours. They are the same as us. They are real. Otherwise, they would never be able to gain this level of popularity.
The band also gained notoriety for their show-stopping choreography and highly stylized music videos. In May 2019, at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, nearly 100,000 people showed up to watch the band perform, shelling out between $55 and $250 per ticket. Sales from the two shows reached more than $14 million. Earlier that month in Chicago, attendance was around 88,000 at Soldier Field. Over the two performances, the band hauled in $13.3 million in ticket sales. For comparison, Taylor Swift also played at Soldier Field, earning $14.5 million for two performances in front of 105,000 fans each night. Swift also played at MetLife Stadium, earning $22 million for three performances, playing to crowds of over 165,000.
Her tickets are
In
a lot more
2018,
expensive.
BTS earned its first platinum certification for its song Mic Drop and its first gold album for Love Yourself Answer. Answer debuted #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and was recognized as the best-selling album ever on South Korea's Gaon chart.
Their songs are not about love or broken hearts. It is about identity, confidence, and loving oneself. It is socially conscious message. That's why we call their music the music of this generation.
This messaging is especially important as the K-pop industry has become mired in scandal in recent years. In early 2019, a number of prominent K-pop idols were named as being part of an online group that shared sexually explicit videos of women, filmed without their knowledge or consent.
Many K-pop fans in Korea are discontent with labeling BTS as K-pop acts because they think BTS is more than K-pop and beyond K-pop, particularly at this moment when K-pop world in general is mired in very severe scandal involving sex trade, rape allegations, and illegal drug sales and whatnot.
BTS has partnered with UNICEF to stage campaigns against violence towards children and teens around the world.
Last November, BTS launched the Love Myself campaign with UNICEF, building on our belief that true love first begins with loving myself. We've been partnering with UNICEF's End Violence program to protect children and young people all over the world from violence. And our fans have become a major part of this campaign with their action and with their enthusiasm. We truly have the best fans in the world.
That was an amazing speech. We actually did a reaction to that, so make sure you check out that video. It's pretty amazing, absolutely inspiring.
In 2019, BTS continued to break records. The group was the first K-pop band ever to perform on Saturday Night Live. The band's most recent album, Map of the Soul Persona, had more than 3 million pre-orders internationally, and upon release went to number 1 on iTunes album charts in 89 different countries. Unlike other K-pop stars, who mainly target Southeast Asia or Chinese fans, BTS has targeted the US market directly.
Wow.
The boy band has collaborated with a number of music heavyweights that are popular in America, including Nicki Minaj, Ed Sheeran, and Halsey. And BTS isn't just taking the music industry by storm. Toys, apparel, and cosmetic companies are all benefiting from the band's global fame. BTS has partnered with Converse, Coca-Cola, Puma, and Hyundai in the form of clothing lines and advertisements.
Big brands.
Not to mention, BTS has
international brands. I
collaborated
think
with
that's what they're
Funko on
trying
a
to
set
get
of 7
across.
Funko Pops.
All of the social media engagement we have with any property this year, BTS is number 1, and that's ahead of Game of Thrones, ahead of Avengers Endgame, and so that's a surprise to us, and it's a huge win, and we got a little bit of how powerful the BTS brand could be at New York Toy Fair.
That is shocking. I mean, Funcom built its whole business on building these action figures for nerds like me.
When we started to see that was our number 1, Instagram tweeted, Facebook item for the show. So we're seeing diversity across who and what the K-pop fans are.
BTS
and I think
needs to have a cameo in Avengers now.
At different retailers. I mean, you can't get any more diverse, from Barnes & Noble to Hot Topic to Amazon. 3 very diverse retailers, and all 3 are doing exceedingly well with the BTS brand.
It's clear, however, that BTS isn't just a passing fad. The Love Yourself, Speak Yourself tour has reportedly made more than $100 million in ticket sales, averaging about $4.5 million per show. The group has been prolific about releasing new music. Since 2014, BTS has released 6 studio albums and 6 EPs. For comparison, the Beatles released 12 studio albums and 13 EPs between 1962 and 1970.
They were very prolific too in the early years. Just one hit after another, number one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not to mention, BTS is the first band since the Beatles to have 3 albums hit the number 1 spot in America in less than a year.
And man, we're living a new era here with BTS doing the same thing.
Oh, gosh. Wow, what an informative video. An eye-opening.
No, that's the whole point. We need to react. We need to go into it.
No, I mean, we can't go into like music industry or,
If you put your mind to anything, you can get into anything.
Oh,
You may not be able to get in that kind of money, but you can get into any industry.
You can get free something, right? From
That's
any
right.
brand.
Hey, we got YouTube. We can make music videos for the world to see right now.
That's the reason why BTS got so popular, because of social media.
That's true.
Number 1. And right now, in addition, they have the game, mobile game. I'm not so sure if they're the first time who has the game.
Oh, there's a lot of bands and
Really?
celebrities
Already?
and music artists. Oh, absolutely.
No.
Katy
Like
Perry has one.
No, K-pop,
and
K-pop.
We only started following K-pop a couple months ago. I barely even know the number of K-pop bands that are out there.
I see.
I know we're arming, and I know you're highly biased, but they're not the first to do anything in the world, really, at the end of the day. They weren't the first on social media. They weren't the first to like top the charts. They weren't the first to go global. The reality is they were the perfect storm of a number of things happening and then be able to ride it. In other words, be able to recognize this as an amazing opportunity, being prolific in terms of the number of things they post on social media, being prolific with the amount of content and music that they create, and being prolific with like touring. All of that added together keeps them in the spotlight, keeps the army satiated. And I think if you were to gauge from that perspective, that is something that hasn't been really done before, I think, from the K-pop industry. Now, that being said, the economic impact here, which is really what this video is about, is actually kind of glossed over. I feel like this was a research project that got kind of caught up in the popularity of BTS. They didn't really go into a lot of numbers, revenue versus profit. I mean, they had a little segment about that in the early years, but they really didn't break it down into all the different things that are driving that. And, how much are merch sales that is being driven for BTS? How much is the tourism being benefited from it? You don't really get a snapshot. And I think for any economic video, I look at it as a study of company dynamics. Right? When a company releases its financial forms, you get a breakdown of which division makes money and the profits that they generate and the trends that they see. And you don't get that here. They kind of go into like the history of BTS, but they don't really talk about how that history is actually the power that fuels what's happening today. I mean, they talk a lot about social media here. The reality is they don't have concrete proof that is what drove BTS to popularity. You know what I'm saying? They're just saying, well, it's a big factor. It's a huge reason, but there's no proof here. It's an assumption with some loose facts, which to me is a little dangerous. Like if you were going to go and do a study about a company and you were going to determine like, all right, what am I going to invest my money in? Like buying stock, you would want to know like for sure what is driving sales. Is it because the music is great? Is it because the personalities?
Do you want to see the numbers?
Well, I want to see proof.
Oh, okay, but proof just like the numbers of how
people think numbers is proof, but you can make numbers up. What I mean by proof is they say social media drove their popularity. I want to see, based off a number of posts that they have on social media, what percentage of that translated into people buying a record. How do you know them being active on social media drives sales? Is it that, or is it advertising, or is it Big Hit doing something? You don't know, and they don't know either. And that's the problem with this kind of reporting. You can make people think that you're really smart saying, well, look at these big numbers. This caused this, but I never saw the connection here. But hey, that's just me analyzing how they did the reporting here. I'm not discounting the fact that what they said about their dominance of social media isn't true. It absolutely is. But we're going back to the fact that this is economic impact. And how much does social media have an economic impact? Who knows? And I'll tell you, a number of things over the years have relied on social media. I distinctly remember a number of years ago, there was a Samuel Jackson movie called Snakes on a Plane. Remember that movie? Corny as hell. But apparently that thing was trending on social media everywhere. People were like, this is such a crazy idea. I'm going to watch this movie. It's going to be awesome. There was a lot of memes generated. It was dominant. And the movie came out and it didn't do great. It did poor. So it doesn't translate. You know what I'm saying? Popularity of social media is not the same as money being generated. The value in social media posts doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of Instagrammers out there who have 100,000 following and they don't get by. They're not really actually making money.
Because there's no engagement. There's not much.
It's not just engagement. You assume engagement, which is giving a heart, is the same as giving $1. It's not. Economic impact is I gave a heart and I decided to go buy something. Right? That's the connection. They don't have that information here. If they said, you know what, every time BTS posts something, X percentage of those posts translates into a ticket sale, translate into an album bought, then you can say social media is the primary cause of this money being generated. And too many people don't make those connections. And I've seen this happen time and time again in the business world.
I'm dizzy with the information I'm receiving.
There's nothing to be dizzy about. It's very straightforward. In fact, that is the number one test that I use
Basic.
in my work every single day. When I'm creating product and I see something and I make an assumption about it, like, hey, what do you know? People are downloading my game because they're talking about it with friends. And how do I make that assumption? I just see some people on the street talking about it, and I see it 2 or 3 times, and I go, that's the reason. But that's not proof. That is literally one observation.
Right, right.
I didn't see the pool of 1 million people and what percentage of them translated to buying my game compared to like maybe advertising, right? I never looked at some other thing.
Got it.
All right, we're already going on about half an hour talking about this. And I realize this is a lot deeper into the economics of things than people are probably accustomed to.
Not
But
really.
it's really interesting. And I think using BTS as an example for like how people do financial reporting is an interesting breakdown of that world. Again, I'm not discounting anything that BTS has done. If anything, it's all the more staggering to realize that all this money is being generated by BTS. Like the South Korean government has shown like, wow, look at all this money being generated from BTS. People are saying they're coming because of BTS. All this gear, merch, music being sold from them.
Yes.
So it's just a big question for me is really at the end of the day, what is the BTS formula? That's the part we don't know. We assume it's social media, but you know what? We'll see. We'll see if other K-pop bands start doing the same thing, if they're able to replicate the success. Because if they do all the same thing and they don't have the same success, there's another part of the BTS magic.
It's them. It's their individuality.
I think you can't discount that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Their music, the people, those are things that have real value that you can't replicate. Right?
That's right. Yes.
All right. That's your lesson today from Master Lee.
Jeez.